Hi friends, welcome to my channel. I'm Arpita Karwa and today we are starting a brand new series which is going to be extremely important for anybody who's preparing for UGC NET exam because from today onwards we are going to be putting up lectures talking about important topics that you should not miss if you're preparing for paper 1. I've seen that a lot of students who prepare for paper 1 face this issue. They are so busy preparing for paper 2 that they find limited time to prepare for paper 1, because of which they are looking for a ready-made solution wherein they can achieve maximum marks with minimum efforts. And that is the core idea behind this entire series, wherein we are going to discuss 30 most frequently repeated topics from Unit 1 Teaching Aptitude. Another most important thing here is to understand that there are a lot of topics that are not a part of the syllabus but are frequently asked in NET exam, and a lot of students miss out those topics. So we are going to be covering those topics in this video as well, and we will also tell you the trending topics from which questions have been asked in the recent NET exam. So hold your breath and let's dive directly into the topic. So the topic number 1 are phases of teaching. As you can see on screen, there are 3 phases of teaching: pre-active, interactive and post-active phase. Knowing all the 3 phases and the difference between the 3 phases are very important. A lot of questions are asked these days from this particular topic. Next up is another interesting topic: essential teaching competencies and skill. Earlier, what used to happen in NET exam, they were asking a lot of common sense based question that if two kids are fighting in the class, how should a teacher deal with a situation like that? And the options were so simple that you can apply your common sense and you can answer those questions. Now they have shifted the pattern. Now from this topic of teaching competencies and skills, they are not asking common sense based questions anymore. Instead, they are asking a lot of questions which involve you to know terminology. For example, as you can see on screen, locus of control, self-efficacy, metacore skills, polycrest skills. These are terms that they are asking continuously. Now, it is not possible for me to cover all these terms in detail in this video because my intention behind this video is to tell you 30 most crucial topics that you should study if you want to score full marks in Unit 1 Teaching Aptitude. So, I'm just giving you a gist of everything. If you want to study all of these topics in detail, you can buy my UGC NET Paper 1 book. It's an Amazon bestseller and has received a lot of praise from Amitabh Bachchan as well. That book covers all these topics that I'm sharing in this video. Another important thing that I would want to tell you, do watch this video till the end because I am giving 4 extra topics towards the end of the video. Those are bonus topics from which nowadays a lot of questions are asked. So those are even more important than these 30 important topics. So do watch the video till the end. Now we move to topic number 3, teaching modalities. Now what are teaching modalities? They are different approaches that teachers use to share knowledge and make students learn. So if you look at the chart that is displayed on your screen, there are 4 main teaching modalities: training, instruction, development and indoctrination. Though at times we might feel that okay, teaching and training are same, but they are not. There is a difference, and you can see the difference by the use of the examples that I've given in the uh, diagram that is there in front of you. Next up is another interesting topic: levels of teaching, and this is something that is there in the syllabus as well. So this becomes all the more important. There are basically 3 levels: memory level, understanding level and reflective level. There's another level called autonomous development level from where a lot of questions are asked these days. And one very important thing is that a lot of people would not know the difference between the 3 levels. They get confused. They kind of feel that all the 3 levels are talking about the same thing. So, to make that simple for you, I have given 3 movie examples in my book. So, if you have a copy of my book in your hand, so make sure that you read the cinematic connections. That will clarify the difference, and also there is a table that is going to tell you the difference between the 3 levels on various factors. So, make sure you go through that table as well. But before that, sit back and relax because we've created a special PDF that summarizes this video and provides you exam ready notes. You just have to drop a message on the WhatsApp number that is flashing on your screen or click on the WhatsApp link that is there in the description box, and we are going to send that handy PDF on your phone. Moving on to next topic, metacognition. Though this topic is totally linked to reflective level of teaching because this is a subtopic of reflective level of teaching, but I am including it separately as a topic because this topic has gained a lot of importance in the recent UGC NET exam. So metacognition basically focuses on how students think about their own learning or thinking process. Meta means own. Meta communication means thinking about how you communicate. So metacognition means when you're thinking or focusing on how do you learn. And then there is a three-step process of metacognition that would involve planning, monitoring, and evaluating. A lot of questions are asked, and that is why I've also included a quiz station in this particular topic in my book, which gives you some questions that have been asked in recent exams so that you can understand what kind of questions can you expect from this topic. Next up is topic number 6, teaching models. Now, if we talk about teaching models, there are three main teaching models. Starts with pedagogy and goes all the way to utagogy. Now, pedagogy is when a teacher is teaching. Andragogy is when a student becomes or takes the main role in the entire teaching learning process. That is when most of the time in college, teachers are just guiding you and you are doing most of the learning by yourself. That's andragogy. And utagogy is self-determined learning where you involve yourself in some type of learning activity without need of a teacher. So these are three different teaching models. There are a lot of examples that I've given in the book in order for you to understand and soak in this topic even more. So make sure you go and read it. Next topic is aspect of learning. This is from chapter number 2 of my book. Now, aspect of learning, there are three main aspects: development of knowledge, skills, and attitude. So, when I say that I'm learning, I'm not just learning how to read, or maybe I'm not just learning historical facts about India, but I'm also learning skills, and there is also development of my attitude. So even in school you will see that the teachers would not just impart knowledge, they will also help students to develop certain skills, and they will also ensure that the student develops a holistic attitude towards life and towards towards society. Then the next important topic is type of learners. Now, type of learners, there are different types of learners, and you know that not all students are the same. Every student is different. They have different skills, they have different ways that they would learn. For example, somebody who is a auditory learner will just listen to this lecture and they will absorb a lot of information. Somebody who is a visual learner is going to remember the presentation or what you see on screen, and you are going to remember all of that on the day of the exam. Somebody who is a kinesthetic learner might just make notes, and that is how he learns. So these are different types of learners, and there are many more learners. In my book there is a QR code which is going to take you to a video wherein I've explained all these learners by giving some fantastic examples. So make sure that you also go through that video. That will help this learning process uh, and make it a little more easy, as well as it is going to make it a lot of fun. But before that, sit back and relax because we've created a special PDF that summarizes this video and provides you exam ready notes. You just have to drop a message on the WhatsApp number that is flashing on your screen, or click on the WhatsApp link that is there in the description box, and we are going to send that handy PDF on your phone. Then the ninth topic is learning disorders. So disorders again is a very important topic because recently also they've asked a couple of questions, and the best example of learning disorders would be Ishan's character from Tare Zameen Pe, where he was a kid who was suffering from dyslexia. And dyslexia is when in your head the numbers and letters and words, all of that get jumbled. So you cannot feel the difference between a B and a D because all of them look the same. Then, apart from dyslexia, there are various other learning disorders like ADHD, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, and these terms you should know because they ask these disorders in multiple choice question, or they are going to ask it in a match the column format question. So it is very important to know how dyscalculia is different from dysgraphia. Then is the next important topic, Bloom's taxonomy. Again, one fundamental topic that has been asked from a very long time in UGC NET exam. And Bloom's taxonomy basically talks about three domains of learning: cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domain. You can see how these three domains are different. I've given three different images for you to understand. Cognitive is your brain's ability to process information, so that is related to your brain, whereas psychomotor skill is when you use your body to do certain things, for example when you are playing football. And affective is related to your emotions. Okay, now there are different levels in that has been talked in Bloom's taxonomy, and a few changes were made in this level from 1956 to 2001. So this change you must know. Other than that, one important thing that I would want to tell you, that you need to know the different processes involved in each of these domains of learning. And I have given some amazing mnemonics and shortcut tricks to remember it. And as you can see it on your screen, these are pages from my book. So make sure that you remember these shortcut tricks. This will help you to retain information till the day of the exam without the need of much memorization and much revisions. Okay, so now before we move on to the next topic, I would want to tell you that learning models and learning theories have gained a lot of importance in Unit 1 teaching aptitude recently, because from past few years they have been asking a lot of questions from different learning models, and that is the reason why now we are going to be talking about different learning models under different topic names. And I would really want you to not skip any of these, because in every shift you will see one or the other learning model, learning theory being asked by NTA. So make sure that you go through all of them in detail. I'm going to give you a summary of all these learning models one by one, so that you at least know what to read inside each of them. So we'll begin by talking about Gagne's learning model. Now this talks about 9 levels of learning. Gagne says that learning happens in 9 levels, and it is important to remember the order of these levels, for which I've given a small shortcut trick using which you can remember all of them. Another interesting thing that is being talked about in this learning model are 5 categories of skills. So you need to also remember all the 5 categories of skills. You can see that on the screen. Next important learning theory is the experiential learning theory that was given by Kolb. Now, he was again a very important person when it comes to development of teaching methodology. And here he talks about learning cycle, that learning happens in a cyclic format. And under this, he gives some very important topics that are constantly repeated in NET exam. For example, they will ask you accommodating क्या होता है, assimilating क्या होता है. They will ask you एक्टिव एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन का जो फेज है उसके अंदर व्हाट एग्जैक्टली हैपेंस. दे आर गोइंग टू गिव यू सिचुएशन बेस्ड क्वेश्चन वेयर दे विल गिव यू a situation and they will ask you that which stage is this learner in, or what terminology is right suitable for that particular situation. So it is very important to remember all of this. I've given another very interesting cinematic reference here to make you understand this technical theory in a very simple, light-hearted manner. And my intention behind giving all these cinematic connections in my book is to ensure कि आप ये समझ पाएं कि ये जितनी भी theory हम theoretical form में पढ़ रहे हैं, इन सब का practical application है. These are things that can be applied in real life to make you a better teacher, a better professor. And that's the idea behind including this unit in UGC NET curriculum as well. We have created a special PDF that summarizes this video and provides you with exam ready notes. You just have to drop a message on the WhatsApp number that is flashing on your screen, or you can click on the WhatsApp link that is there in the description box, and we are going to send the handy PDF on your phone. Now we move on to next important theory, one of my favorite theories, that is cognitive development theory, which talks about how a person's mind or a child's mind develops during the childhood phase. And that is where Jean Piaget gives the stages of cognitive development. So he talks about 4 stages: sensory period that happens from 0 to 2 years, then pre-operational period that happens from 2 to 7 years, then concrete operational that happens from 7 to 11 years, and then formal operation that kinds of happens during the teenage years. Then related to cognitive development theory, there is another very important person who is associated with this theory, and his name is Levosky. Now, this person talks about important terms that are constantly repeated in net exams, like probing, scaffolding, then zone of proximal development. And it is very important for you to know these terms, because even if you are aware of how a teacher should behave, but you do not know the term scaffolding, then you will not understand how to solve a question, because the question might have the word scaffolding, and it is a very simple thing. Scaffolding is basically that you are giving child some support while he is learning, and then gradually you are removing that support. Just like अगर किसी को हम चलना सिखाते हैं तो उसको एक वॉकर या स्टिक देते हैं ताकि वो धीरे धीरे चले, एंड फिर धीरे धीरे उसकी स्टिक हटा दी जाती है so that he can start walking normally after an operation. If a person has gone through a leg operation or an orthopedic operation, this is how doctors would do, and the same process is applied by a teacher as well. So next we talk about cooperative learning theory. Now, cooperative learning theory, as from the term you can know, it talks about how different individuals or peers can help you learn something. So basically आप जब अपने social group के साथ हो तो आप काफ़ी चीज़ें लर्न करते हो उस प्रोसेस में कोऑपरेशन से. दैट इज कोऑपरेटिव लर्निंग थ्योरी. इसमें काफी सारे छोटे छोटे टर्म्स हैं अगेन दैट यू शुड नो, जैसे इंटरपर्सनल एंड स्मॉल ग्रुप स्किल्स क्या होनी चाहिए, इंडिविजुअल एंड ग्रुप अकाउंटेबिलिटी क्या होती है व्हेन यू आर अकाउंटेबल टू द ग्रुप, देन पॉजिटिव इंटरडिपेंडेंस क्या होता है दैट यू आर डिपेंडिंग ऑन द अदर पर्सन हु आर देयर इन दैट ग्रुप बट इट इज अ पॉजिटिव इंटरडिपेंडेंस. Then there are terminology that you will see in the question paper: face to face promotive interaction. Now when a student sees all these terms, they are sometimes, when they don't know what are the topics that they have to study in detail and they directly jump to the PYQ, they might feel that all of this is out of syllabus. But let me tell you, the reason why I'm showing you images and I'm showing you different terminology here is to help you understand that these are essentially part of the syllabus. The only thing is that not a lot of people know which are these 30 topics that they have to study, and that is the reason why they miss out on important marks. Okay, then comes the next theory, which is behavioral learning theory. As from the term itself you can understand, this basically talks about how our behaviors are shaped. So let's say if I am somebody who is always very disciplined, that is a trait of my behavior. Now how did that happen? So here they give a lot of terms related to behavioralism. For example, they would say that a stimulus happens because of which you give a response. For example, the stimulus is that the phone is ringing. When you hear the sound of phone ringing, what is your response? You're going to answer the phone. Then there is something called punishment and reward. Punishment happens when you are punished for not doing something, and that is when you associate it with something negative. That means if I am always punished for not doing my homework on time, I will somewhere learn to do my homework on time because I want to escape from the punishment, and that is how discipline is inculcated in a kid. Or let's say if I am always doing my homework on time, then the teacher is going to announce my name in the class and everybody will clap for me. That is when I will feel appreciated and I will want to do that behavior again and again. So this is how behavior development happens. Your two very important conditioning types are discussed. One of them is operant conditioning, that was given by B.F. Skinner. Another was classical conditioning, given by Ivan Pavlov. Now, what does Ivan Pavlov talk about? Ivan Pavlov talks about an experiment where whenever he rings a bell, the dog is going to come and eat the food. Okay. So, dog after a point started associating ringing the bell with the food. So, every time somebody rings the bell, he starts salivating. That means he starts feeling as if the food is going to come. So, he has associated food with the ring of the bell. Operant conditioning, on the other hand, takes the case of a rat. And here they say that, whenever a rat pulls a trigger, so rat is captured in a box and there is a trigger. So whenever rat uh, rat or the mouse is going to hit the trigger, cheese is going to drop, and he feels excited. So he knows that pressing the trigger is going to give him a reward, and that is how he starts associating pressing trigger with cheese. And then there is another part of the box where when he goes, he is exposed to electric shock, And that is when he knows that, okay, going to that part is going to give him shock, and he decides not to go there. So this is how reward and punishment के थ्रू बिहेवियर डेवलप किया जाता है. So these are some interesting theories. There are more coming in. So stay hooked to the video. Next up is social learning theory. Now, social learning theory में भी कुछ important components है, processes है that you should know, like attention, retention, reproduction, and motivation. So as you can see, I've tried to describe it in very less words in front of your screen so that you can understand the difference. So attention basically is when you are paying attention to the behaviors of other. Retention is when you remember and you're storing that information in your memory. Let's say you go to a party, you really like somebody, so you're going to pay attention to that person's behavior and try to you would want to mimic it. Okay, so then the first step is you're paying attention to that behavior. How is that person walking? How is that person talking? Then you are going to remember it, store it in your memory. Then you are going to replicate the behavior. You will try imitating that person, and then is motivation, where is reinforcement coming into the picture. Okay, because then when you see that your friends have started liking you more because you are acting in a bit different manner which is more appropriate, or you're just trying to mimic somebody from a high class society and people are appreciating you, you are going to be motivated enough to do it again and again. So these are small terms. By understanding it in your real world, by connecting it to some real life examples, you can understand this very easily. You don't have to be afraid of it, and that is the reason why I've included a lot of real life examples. I've included a lot of cinematic connection. Even for this theory, I've included a cinematic connection that you can see on your screen. We have created a special PDF that summarizes this video and provides you with exam ready notes. You just have to drop a message on the WhatsApp number that is flashing on your screen, or you can click on the WhatsApp link that is there in the description box, and we are going to send the handy PDF on your phone. Next up is multiple intelligence theory. Again, something which is very interesting. You can see the table that is there on your screen. This basically talks about different types of intelligence. For example, I'm somebody who's very good at linguistic intelligence because language learning is something that comes naturally to me. But I'm very bad at musical intelligence. I cannot understand where is the beat, how is different musical components fitting together to create a great sound. A person like Arijit Singh will have an extremely well musical intelligence, but he might not be so good at interpersonal intelligence. So basically, it talks about that every child is different, everybody has different types of intelligence, and we should nurture them and choose a career based on that intelligence. Then comes another very interesting theory, Maslow's need hierarchy theory. So this basically talks about a pyramid structure where there are different needs, and only by going from one need to the next need, you are going to progress in life. So let's say if I feel extremely terrified in my surrounding, let's say I'm deported to Syria for some reason, okay, and I feel extremely insecure there. So will I think about meditating there? No, I would not, because I am so afraid that I want to first ensure my safety. So it is basically saying that a person can go to self-actualization, can think of becoming a monk, can think of becoming a better human being only when his basic needs are satisfied. Basically, I've given a very simple example कि रोटी कपड़ा मकान, ये 3 बेसिक नीड है. ये जब तक नहीं होगी तब तक वो आगे की नीड्स पे काम नहीं करना चाहेगा. अगर किसी को भूख लगी है, वो इंसान नॉलेज की तरफ बढ़ेगा नहीं, उसको पहले अपनी भूख शांत करनी है. So those are physiological basic needs. उसके बाद में धीरे धीरे his inclination towards learning new things would develop. Then comes another interesting learning model, mastery learning model. You will feel कि इतने सारे learning models Arpita is talking about, are all of them relevant? I'm telling you, you can go through the PYQs and you will understand the importance of all these learning models, because the UGC NET exam structure is like that. You have paper 1 for all the 84 subjects, and different paper 1s are created for every day. Even in the 2 shifts happening on the same day, there are different paper 1s, and that is the reason why if the exam happens in 15 days, you have about 30 paper 1 papers that are being set. So 30 paper 1 are designed. That means around 1500 questions are designed. So they have स्कोप टू इंक्लूड ऑल ऑफ दिस। किसी शिफ्ट में वो किसी एक से पूछ लेंगे, किसी शिफ्ट में वो मैस्लो हायरार्की नीड से पूछेंगे, किसी में वो बिहेवियरल लर्निंग थ्योरी से पूछेंगे, एंड यू नेवर नो which model is going to be asked in your shift. That is the reason why you have to keep yourself prepared from like 360-degree manner. Then we talk about mastery learning model. Now, mastery learning model is when a student masters a topic at its own pace before moving on. So, for example, the students who are enrolled in my online course, it's a self-paced course. That means a student can start and progress on at its own speed. A person might want to rewatch a video before moving further, so that person has the flexibility to watch a video 3 times. A person might already know a topic and want to skip that topic's video and directly jump to the next topic. He can do that as well. So that is mastery learning model. Okay. Now we move to the next important topic, which is human memory and its type. So when we talk about cognitive development theory, one very important concept attached to cognitive development theory is human memory. So it is very important for you to know different types of memory, long term, short term, and there are so many sub branches of all of this that you need to know. I have shared the screenshot of my book wherein I've discussed all of this and also shown this in a diagrammatic form so that you can just have this picture in your head when you give the exam. So it is important to know all the different types of memory as well. Recently also they've asked questions from human memory, so this is a topic you cannot skip. We have created a special PDF that summarizes this video and provides you with exam ready notes. You just have to drop a message on the WhatsApp number that is flashing on your screen, or you can click on the WhatsApp link that is there in the description box, and we are going to send the handy PDF on your phone. Next up are different teaching methods. So far we have discussed different learning theories. Just to give you a synopsis of whatever we have discussed, in my book also I have divided unit 1 into 5 chapters. First chapter talks about teaching, second talks about learning, so it incorporates all the learning theory. Next chapter talks about teaching methods. So from here, topic number 21 onwards, we are going to discuss chapter 3 of my book where we are discussing different teaching methods. So the first topic under this section is teacher-centric teaching method, where teacher is taking the main role. For example, in a lecture method, like right now, I'm giving a lecture to you. So I am doing the dominant, doing the dominant part here. I am providing you maximum information. You are not here interacting or learning on your own. You are actually just soaking in the information that I am giving. Similar to this is a demonstration method where I might just demonstrate you how to do a particular experiment in a science lab, or maybe a TV video presentation method where I show you a movie and then you learn from that movie or a story. So these are teacher centric learning methods. Some students ask me, what is team teaching method? Team teaching method is when there are more teachers who are teaching you a same topic. So for example, rather than just me giving you examples and telling you topics that you should study in unit 1, I might introduce another person on my YouTube channel who is going to have a complementary skill set, and that person will give you some additional knowledge that I might not be the right person to deliver it. So team teaching method is when teachers work as a team and one person is teaching you something and the other person is going to complement it by teaching you something else. Then comes topic number 22, which is learner centric teaching method. Now here you can see that there are so many different learning methods and I have included all of them in a form of a video lecture as well. So in my book, when you start this topic, learner centric teaching method, you look at the index of the chapter and you will see so many learner centric teaching method. I have explained all of them in a video format, and for watching that video you just have to use your phone's camera and scan the QR code, and then you will be able to watch an animated lecture which will help you understand this topic. So rather than reading all of this, you can just watch a video and get hold of the topic. So the next important topic after knowing about the teacher-centric and learner-centric teaching method is Edgar Gale's cone of experience. So basically, this psychologist, this researcher talks about a pyramid structure wherein he shows how well do we learn through different ways. So, for example, then you are just reading something from a book or a website, you're reading an article, you will just remember 10% of what you have read. This is something which we all have experienced. You might have read an article in the newspaper last day and you don't remember it even today. But we all have watched a movie in our childhood and we still remember it. DDLJ if you have seen, Kalona O if you have seen, Tare Zameen Pe you have seen. So those movies are the ones that we still remember today. Why? Because that is how Edgar Dale's cone of experience work. It shows that when we read something, we just remember 10% of it. But on the other hand, if we watch a video, we are going to remember 30% because you remember more when you see something. That's why I'm giving you so many diagrams, so many charts, so many images. And that's what I've done in my book as well. I've tried to make it as immersive as possible so that you can retain more. You don't have to keep cramming. You can just retain by the sight of it. And if you see 50% of what you hear and see, if you see and hear, that's what happens in movies. We are hearing as well as we are seeing something. And ऑडियो विजुअल्स की वजह से हमें मूवी 50% याद रहती है, बट जो हम पढ़ते हैं वो हमें सिर्फ 10% याद रहता है. ओके, 90% you remember if you do something. If you practically do something, then you will remember it all. Then comes the next important topic, which is MOOC or MOOC. What is MOOC? Basically, these are massive open online courses. And there is a very simple way to understand it. Nowadays, we are having so many courses being offered by different institutes. IITs are giving you courses. Then even foreign institutes like Harvard University, there are so many courses that are there on edX and different websites where you can learn from the professors of Harvard and you can learn new skills. Those are MOOCs. There is so much more to read inside this because this is a topic that they are going to ask from really deep. काफी dig in करके questions आते हैं. तो स्वयं प्रभा, the next two topics that we'll talk about, and MOOC. These are the three topics that you have to really study in detail. We have created a special PDF that summarizes this video and provides you with exam ready notes. You just have to drop a message on the WhatsApp number that is flashing on your screen, or you can click on the WhatsApp link that is there in the description box, and we are going to send the handy PDF on your phone. Next topic, as I told you, is Swayam. Swayam again is a very, very interesting topic because they are going to talk about the 4 quadrants that you can see on your screen. They will also be asking about 9 national coordinators of Swayam. So basically, ये दो बार repeat होने वाले areas है. You need to know the 9 coordinators and you need to know about the 4 quadrants. कि स्वयं जो एक पूरा सेटअप है उसके क्या 4 पहलू है कि उसमें आपको क्या क्या दिया जाएगा गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से, एंड हु आर द 9 institutes, which are the 9 institutes which are going to provide you the content for Swayam. Then comes the next important topic, which is Swayam Prabha. Now, Swayam Prabha again becomes a very important topic because they are going to ask you the names of the channel, which is something that I really don't find interesting कि आपको mug up करना पड़ेगा. But for that, I've given you another shortcut trick where through a story you can learn all the channel names of Swayam Prabha. So do check that from my book. It's there in chapter number 4. You will find Swayam Prabha and MOOC discussed in detail in chapter 4, and you will find all these screenshots that I'm showing you in the book right there. So you can go and study them in detail. Next up is another important topic, teaching softwares. I have been telling my students that these days UGC NET is not going to just ask you questions about teaching. They are going to integrate different units together. For example, they will integrate ICT, which is unit number 8, with unit 1 teaching, and then they create another topic which is teaching softwares. So how ICT is helping teachers today is what is discussed here. So here they talk about a lot of teaching softwares that are used by teachers and learners. For example, you might have heard about Duolingo, which is a language learning platform. So if I want to improve my language, let's say I'm learning French or Spanish and I want to practice it on a daily basis, then I can use Duolingo and it is going to give me a lot of exercises using which I can become more proficient in the language. On the other hand, there are other softwares which are useful for the teachers. For example, Moodle is another learning software, teaching software, and all these teaching softwares you can see on your screen. There are different examples and different subcategories. Mind mapping softwares क्या है, LMS क्या है, animation video makers क्या है. So please make sure that you remember the examples as well, because they are going to ask you that, let's say, Canvas is a software, and tell us under which category does it belong. Is it a LMS? Is it an online bulletin board software? Is it a Google product? Is it a virtual class or language learning platform? Okay, so this is another interesting topic that you need to know deeply. So after having a detailed discussion on different methods of teaching, let us now talk about evaluation, which is another important element of teaching, because that is how you assess whether a student has understood the lesson, whether there is a change in his behavior or skill, or where there is improvement or development of his abilities. And this entire topic of evaluation is thoroughly covered in my book under chapter number 5. And as I told you, I have divided the book into different chapters so that it's easy for you to digest an information. For example, if I talk about teaching aptitude, I've divided it into 5 chapters, and the 5th chapter is evaluation, where all the topics related to evaluation are covered. Now, if you're wondering that how do you get to know about these important topics, which topics to study, which to not, then in my book, in each chapter, when you open any chapter, you're going to see there is a small index that is given that talks about all the topics covered in that chapter. And in that index, I have highlighted the topics that are extremely important, frequently repeating, and trending these days as exam essential. So whenever you see a topic in the book that is termed as exam essential, that means that is a topic that you cannot skip. You should study in detail, because from there you are going to get those extra marks. So, talking about evaluation, the first important topic under this category is techniques of evaluation. As you can see on screen, there are 2 types of evaluation, something very common, we all know: qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative, from the word itself you can understand, it just measures the quantity. So, काफी ऊपर surface level होता है ये. Qualitative is when you dig deeper, you are going to evaluate the student thoroughly. Okay, that is qualitative. We have created a special PDF that summarizes this video and provides you with exam ready notes. You just have to drop a message on the WhatsApp number that is flashing on your screen, or you can click on the WhatsApp link that is there in the description box, and we are going to send the handy PDF on your phone. Then we talk about next important topic, that are types of evaluation. This is again very important, because यहाँ से ये लोग formative assessment, summative एंड डायग्नोस्टिक, ये सारे टर्म्स हैं, डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ इवैल्यूएशन. यहाँ से काफी बार क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं. दे आर गोइंग टू गिव यू अ सिचुएशन एंड देन आस्क यू दैट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ इवैल्यूएशन इज हैपनिंग इन दिस सिचुएशन. एंड दैट्स द रीजन व्हाई आई वुड रियली वांट यू टू गो थ्रू all the cinematic connections that I've given, because that will help you understand this topic better. Next important topic is types of evaluation test. For example, if you've ever gone to a psychologist, they will probably help you by conducting a test on you that is known as projective test. So projective tests are basically when you are shown random images and you are asked to find meaning from that images. Now those images are looking very abstract. They are not very clean. You cannot form a story. But when you try to understand the image and tell the counselor that what does that image mean to you, that is when they will know the subconscious thought process, and that is how they will be able to diagnose you better, help you better. So those are different types of evaluation tests. There are many more in this category, achievement test, and all of that you can read in detail in my book. Other than that, there are also a lot of cinematic references that I've given here that will help you understand different types of tests. And finally, now that we have completed our discussion on the 30 most important topic, I'm going to talk about 4 bonus topics that have been trending from last couple of years, and they are not mentioned anywhere. So neither in the syllabus of UGC NET nor anywhere else. These are topics that you can only get after going through the PYQs and doing a deep analysis of the PYQs. Under this category, the first important topic is mind mapping and micro teaching. These are two separate topics. I'm clubbing them together just for convenience. Mind mapping is when you make a mind map. So you can see image of a mind map on the screen. So mind map is basically one single concept and then there are different branches around that idea. काफ़ी डीप है ये टॉपिक भी, आपको डिटेल में पढ़ना है तो यू कैन गो थ्रू माय बुक, अदरवाइज नहीं तो आपको नेट पे भी बहुत कंटेंट मिल जाएगा, बट मेक श्योर दैट आप माइंड मैपिंग से पूरी तरह से अपने आप को अवगत करा लें. नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक इज माइक्रो टीचिंग. माइक्रो टीचिंग इज बेसिकली दे आर again, just like we saw in Kolb's learning cycle, that there's a cycle. Similarly, micro teaching also talks about a cycle of teaching, a teaching cycle. Basically, जिसमें एक teacher ने अपने steps को divide कर दिया है. The first step would be plan, then to teach, then to take the feedback from the student. Then based on that feedback, you replan. Then you again teach. Then you take a re-feedback. And then this keeps on happening. So every time you teach, you are going to take a feedback. You are going to see whether your teaching method was right or not. You will make necessary improvement, you will make necessary changes, and then you are going to teach again, and that is how you become a better teacher as well. Next important topic category is blended learning and six thinking heads. So blended learning क्या है? Blended learning basically talks about where you are blending online and offline learning together. Okay, इसके अंदर काफी सारे इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म्स हैं, जैसे फ्लिप्ड क्लासरूम क्या होता है, सेल्फ ब्लेंड मॉडल क्या होता है, एकेडमिक बैंक ऑफ क्रेडिट क्या होता है. दीज टर्म्स आर डिस्कस्ड इन डिटेल इन द बुक. मेक श्योर दैट आप जब भी पढ़ें, चाहे मेरी बुक से पढ़ें चाहे किसी भी और रिसोर्स से पढ़ें, यू गो थ्रू ऑल दीज टर्म्स. Next topic, as you can see on screen, is six thinking hats. This is a very interesting topic. Basically, it talks about how a person should know to think from different lens or different perspective. So let's say if I have to resolve a conflict that is happening in my company, so I might put a white hat which symbolizes facts and information, and I just look at the facts objectively. Then I might want to resolve the issue and want to take a positive thinking approach. So I would just use an imaginary yellow hat, and when I look at that situation from a yellow hat's perspective, I'm going to only look at the positive things or optimistic things happening in that situation. And these switching between these imaginary hats will help someone get better at problem solving. So this is another teaching method that they have discussed. Next teaching method is fishbowl technique and think pair share. ये अभी recently net exam में पूछा गया है, so make sure you know both of these methods. And then finally we have buzz group method and jigsaw strategy. So as you can see, I have discussed it in short on your screen. You can just go through it, and that's about it. That is how we've covered 30 most important topic and 4 bonus topics that you must cover for your UGC NET preparation. I hope this video helps you. Other than that, if you really want a PDF that summarizes this entire video and gives you, a small summary of this entire video, you can just message us on WhatsApp, and my team is going to put a link on your phone with the help of which you can download the PDF and enjoy the lecture. So that's it from my side for this video lecture. I'll meet you very soon in the next video lecture. Till the time we meet next, happy learning, keep loving literature, and stay tuned to arpatakarwa.com.